So greetings, folks, and welcome to the College of DuPage Entrepreneurship Club. My name is Peter James. I am a professor here on campus at the beautiful College of DuPage, coming to you from beautiful Glen Ellen, Illinois. We reside here in a beautiful suburb west of Chicago, 200 and some odd acres of beautiful property. The only reason I stress that is because last time I got it really wrong, so it's definitely 200 something acres. But thank you for joining us, those of you who are watching on YouTube. Those of you who are here, give yourselves a round of applause. Woo! All right. For those of you who are first-time watchers, our format here is to bring entrepreneurs to the College of DuPage, bring them to the students so that students can get exposed to how this thing really works. Is it really feasible? The good stuff and the hard stuff, because there's hard stuff to it as well, and just like there is to anything, but definitely wanted to expose that to students overall. So again, my name is Peter James. I'm a professor of business and entrepreneurship. I want to give a shout out to the business management and marketing discipline here on campus, and all those business marketing and management students here in the studio audience. So without further ado, we have Joshua Shai here. Josh, thank you so much for joining us today as well. Thank you so much for coming on campus today to be a part of what we're trying to do here. As a matter of fact, you probably don't know this, we have a pitch contest immediately after this, $2,000 top prize. Could you use $2,000?
I could totally use it. Am I qualified though?
You don't qualify, you don't qualify, but I just wanted to ask that question, because if you could use it, I know our students could use it. But for some reason, I have a hard time getting all students involved in this, for sure. So Josh, thank you for being a friend to the College of DuPage community. Tell us a little bit about yourself. Where are you from, Josh?
Sure. I am from China, I guess.
Okay. You guess.
I was born in China, but I moved to Chicago when I was 10.
Okay.
And grew up in Chicago.
So you've been in Chicago longer than I have. I'm originally from New York City.
Oh, okay.
And I've only been in Chicago 11 years.
Mm-hmm. Oh,
so
wow.
you're more of a Chicagoan than I am.
Yes.
Yeah.
I've been here for a while.
It's cold, man.
It is very cold.
Right
That's
now,
the only part
especially
I don't like. Everything else is perfect.
It is. The summers are nothing like it, right?
That's right.
Sure. So you're in Chicago. It seems like you were kind of raised here in Chicago. Tell us about your journey to even, and not so much as to how you got here, but did you go to school in the area as well?
Yes. So I went to a high school in Chicago, northern Chicago, right before Evanston. Sun High School. Good. Went there, and then I went to UIC. Yeah. I went quite a few schools. You want me to go through all of this? No.
don't tell me all the grade school, but definitely college.
Yes. Eventually, my first degree was in medical.
Very good.
And then I switched to computer science.
So we went from medical to computer science.
Yes, and then I went to
what happened there?
The medical degree was more for my parents.
right.
I did it for them.
Thank you for your honesty.
Yes. Yeah. So I went out, practiced for about a year and a half, and didn't really like it.
Oh, you practiced too?
Yes.
Good for you.
Yes, I volunteered, practiced. Thank you.
Wow. Oh, good for you.
So So I figured.
And you went into.
And I switched. I went to a physical therapist.
Okay, you went to physical therapist. Okay, good.
And I practiced at Children's Memorial Hospital.
Good.
the time it's called. I don't know what it's called now.
And then you transitioned to
computer science.
Computer science. That's a little bit of a vast difference.
It's a huge change of career.
Yeah.
But the medical degree was more following my parents' footsteps.
It wasn't your passion.
Well, I thought it was, but it turned out to be something. I think it was just more
for them.
Yeah. Right.
Good stuff. So you transitioned. You went back to school for a computer science degree?
Yes. Actually, I went. Actually, at the time, there was a shortage in IT industry at the time. So I got job offers left and right, and I'm like, why not jump on it? And then the offer also include paid education.
Nice.
So I was able to work full time and go to college at the same time.
So you really paid attention to what the marketing landscape was providing to you, and you said, hey, this is a good niche.
Absolutely.
I'm interested. I jumped into it. They paid for my education, so win-win.
Yes. So one thing I had to make sure I tell myself was I had to make sure I finished my school.
Yeah.
And that was my argument to getting to a full-time job.
Very cool. Very cool. So you went down the path of computer science, started working. Were you loving it?
Yeah, I loved it because that was almost like a second nature to me. With computers, build computers, I built networks, and I built data centers, and then moving to a senior management role, working all sort of different companies across the country.
Good stuff.
Definitely feel like it's definitely second nature to me.
So you did that for a while. Worked for a few companies.
Quite a few.
Good.
Other well-known companies in both in the area as well as international.
Very cool. Very cool. So you're very knowledgeable in that. I might need a network. Can I tap you a little bit for that?
Absolutely. What do you need?
We'll talk about that off camera for sure.
Sure.
But you ventured into entrepreneurship. Was that under the computer science umbrella, or did that happen much later?
No, I think entrepreneurship, it's always in my blood.
Yeah.
I just never realized it until most recently. It's always been nagging me in the back of my mind.
I have to admit, I'm big on the entrepreneurship mindset, entrepreneurial mindset, and even from your journey so far, it seems like you were able to realize I'm not in my passion. I want to go to somewhere where there's an opportunity.
Absolutely.
You seize the moment from seeing where the gaps in opportunity were in the marketplace, went forward in there as well, and were able to create your own path, your career, and your journey to a certain extent. Would you?
Absolutely. I think you said it very well. I think the most challenging part is not necessarily what, but more of how for me.
How? Okay, not necessarily what, but how.
Yes, I always know what I want, just don't know how to get there.
How to get there.
Yes.
That's okay though, but I like the fact that you had the goal, you pursue it, and no matter how long it took, how long it took, you were able to pursue it all the way to the end.
Sure.
Good stuff. Yeah. So you mentioned entrepreneurship, you mentioned small business a little bit. How did you start from the computer science background? I can see how that could become your own business in and of itself, but was that the basis of your entrepreneurial journey, or did you go into a different direction from that? What you see?
I always have ideas. I think there's always ideas flowing around that I wanted to try out. What I didn't have is the how part is to have access to the resources like this. This is exactly where I should have been.
Right.
20, 30 years ago. But absolutely, I mean, this is awesome community where you can have access to those resources and poke around people that have either went through the process and accomplished or made mistakes and learned from it.
Yeah. So I have to admit, if 20, 30 years ago in most colleges, this did not exist. You know, entrepreneurship classes and entrepreneurship clubs were not as prevalent as they are now. Right. Now, our students here just have they don't realize how good they have it from that perspective, for sure. So kudos to you for that. So you saw an opportunity. What was that? Was it in computer science? Was it in what you're doing now? Tell us a little bit about the transition.
So I saw a lot of opportunities through my career. Some of those are, I wish that I did know what I was doing. One of the things back in 2000 when I wanted to build a almost like a health cloud. Not health, almost like a cloud solution. But it wasn't called a cloud at the time. Obviously, cloud wasn't the word. So I wanted to build it, and I went through eBay and bought all the equipments and built it in my basement.
Like a Google Drive. You were trying to create that.
Yeah, exactly. And then I didn't know what to do, how to do it. But I did end up building a prototype and try to pitch it. And obviously, there's the venture capitalists and things like that we had to go through, and
it was tough.
Yeah, it was tough.
A lot of people don't realize how tough that investor role is.
Right.
At trying to get investors for your company.
Yeah.
As well. So what happened then? So that did not work out the best you thought.
Yeah. I mean, we spent a bunch of money and didn't really went anywhere. But it was a very good concept.
Yeah.
I think like 5-10 years later, now it's health cloud. There's all kind of different cloud solutions.
Absolutely.
Amazon is the cloud solution, right?
Absolutely.
So everything's cloud based, and I wish I had the access to the talents, the resources, and the people.
We have the Googles, the Apples, the Microsofts, the Amazons. They all have their cloud services right
Absolutely.
now.
Yeah, absolutely. So, and then after that, I mean, I just have all different sort of ideas. I went to e-com business for a while.
Okay. E-commerce.
Yes. E-commerce. I built a couple stores on the internet.
Nice.
eBay stores, Amazon stores, very successful. Unfortunately, I didn't know how to access the suppliers correctly. So that was a learning experience.
Sure.
And pretty much I had a full-time job, and then come home, I box things.
Right.
So
I've been there, yeah.
and then post office come pick it up, all these different boxes. And then one day my supplier got cut off, and they didn't know how to access it.
Oh, wow.
So I just say I got too much thing going on, and focus on something else.
Wow. So, hey, folks, I'm asking a ton of questions here for Josh. If you guys have, studio audience, if you have questions that you can think of that may, especially along his journey, which I'm dying to find. I'm kind of dying to find out how he got to where he was a little bit. Feel free to raise your hand, and I'll make sure I call on you so that you can ask the right questions also. I love that part of it because I encourage students a lot of time to set up their own business on eBay, sell stuff on Poshmark or something like that. Go into their parents' basement, I tell them, and start flipping stuff in order to get the momentum going. Sounds like you were doing that while you still were working your full-time job.
That's right.
You had a side hustle.
Yes, yeah, absolutely.
Good. Do you feel like all that, even the failure of it, has helped you even to this point today?
I never really look at it as a failure to me. I think it's more of an experience, a learning experience.
Sure.
Absolutely, it's going to build my, my knowledge and experience overall. That's where it kind of bring me to today, where I am.
So you've dabbled in the healthcare stuff, as Muhammad was asking there. You dabbled in computer science. You launched your own business. How did that evolve to even how you got to where you are today? What was the, especially from the eBays, and the stuff you were flipping at home? I don't know if you were flipping or you had suppliers, excuse me, from home.
Sure. Yeah.
How did that evolve to where you are today?
Yeah. I mean, a couple years ago, I went through this whole corporate. I don't know, disaster, I guess.
Right.
Is where just tired of working for a corporate. I want to work for myself. I want to do things I wanted to do. Sure. I have ideas. I wanted to test it out, and that's when I kind of made the decision. My wife and I actually say, hey, let's do something together. So we went and interviewed quite a few business consultants, business advisors, and help us select quite a few business ideas from automobile to all the way to business, where I'm currently doing with Office Evolution.
So you wanted to get into the business ownership world to a certain extent, but you wanted to find the right fit.
Correct. Yes.
And I also like what you said. I also had a corporate disaster. I survived 3 layoffs in corporate, and that just was not rubbing me the right way. So I knew I had to make a change ultimately as well. Yep. So you made that change. You were interviewing consultants. Tell us about that process. What were you really looking for? Did you know what you were looking for at that time?
I do not know. I just know I need to have my own business, and I have been worked for the corporate side of things I'm still. Sure. Yes, right now, kind of. But I switched from my IT career to IT security career. That's really currently very hot right now.
It is.
Obviously. So I have my own cybersecurity consulting currently right now.
Nice.
At the same time, I'm also doing the Office Evolution business, which is a fully service provider for office space and meeting space.
So talk about both of those, if you don't mind, a little bit, only from the perspective of I'm a big advocate of not having all your eggs in one basket. Number one, but 2, being able to diversify yourself depending on what the needs of the industry are. So it seems like you have 2 good niches. Tell us about both of those a little bit.
Yeah,
if you don't mind.
From a cybersecurity side of things, it's just there's so much needs out there. From a government sector to every to private sector, there's a breach every minute, every second.
What was the last big one? I think was that Target had a big breach where people's credit cards were compromised.
Well, Target, there's quite a few of them. There's a credit card industry that have breaches. There's banks. There's things that you hear about on the news, and there's a lot of things that you don't hear about.
Right. Yeah. Interesting. So that's good. So yeah, it's definitely needed today more than ever.
Yes. And then that's my more of where my professional career kind of built up on. And then that's where I kind of say, hey, if I'm doing my cybersecurity business while funding for a different business that may make sense to me, one of the things that we end up selecting Office Evolution is because we're heavily kind of involved with the community, and we have a lot of connections within the community. But one of the things that I didn't know or I didn't have is the connection to the community with the small business owners. Ever since I have this business started, I have so many connections, and that just makes sense to me.
Absolutely.
And with the corporate experience, adding to the community serving kind of connections, and now is the business community connections. It just makes sense.
Absolutely, yes, sir. Look like we got a question from the studio audience over there, the good-looking guy over there.
So with having your two businesses, how do you manage your time?
Sure. So the question is, how do I manage my time with the two businesses running? It's really difficult. I think it's around the clock. There's no time for breaks, and I'll be getting up, getting the kids ready, send them to school, and then go to my office and start multitasking my cybersecurity and then doing my other business. And on top of that, we got two locations, one in Naperville and one in Lyle, so it's technically kind of three business. So yeah, it's very difficult, but it just, you look at your time of the day, you think about, okay, what I want to accomplish for today, and making sure that I prioritize those, prioritize my time management and prioritize my tasks. And then just ask for help. You can't do it by yourself. Ask for help, and then you'd be surprised. People are very, very friendly, very supportive.
We were actually talking about help a little bit before we got started. Sometimes you have to outsource different aspects of your business. We were talking about outsourcing social media assistance, such as in Facebook or Instagram. Marketing your services to the community. So I'm sure that's part of your balancing your time as well,
absolutely. Yeah. If I'm not so good at certain things, certain areas, give it to somebody who is really good at what they're what they're good at and what they know the best. So let them do the work.
Yeah. Yes, sir. Absolutely. Yes.
So what drives you? What's your motivation to do all of what I hear that you're doing? What would you say is like your prime motivation to do these things? What kind of impact do you want to have on the lives of people?
Yeah,
good question.
Very good question. And the question is what fuels me, what drives me, and very good question. I've been thought about that a lot, actually. I think it's really about the passion, what really I want to do, right?
Sure.
It's not about the money.
Right.
It's about what you want out of life. For me, I want to be in the church ministry area. I want to be missionaries, whether part-time or full-time at some point with my business at a certain level. So that drives my passion.
Here's a goal. I think to piggyback on that, I think it's important for us to all have some type of goals that we can look to achieve, and what you're doing now is the path, the steps that you need to take to get to that ultimate goal.
Sure.
And I share a similar goal as well, and the things that I want to do in the interim are working towards that also. So definitely kudos to you for that question there, David. But also the path, the journey can't be overlooked, because you can't just leapfrog over to where you want to get to. You got to pay your dues to a certain aspect, right?
Yep, absolutely.
Tell us about Office Evolution, if you don't mind, a little bit.
Sure.
What are the concepts?
Office Evolution is currently the #4 largest co-working space provider in the country. And we are a fully furnished office space, meeting space provider. We have day office, go by the hour, very flexible.
Sure.
We are currently in the community. One of the connections that, I forgot the gentleman's name, one of the connections that you can make if you want to get into the private health care sector is we have psychologists, authors, we have business owners, attorneys, we have CPAs in our space that you have access to. There's co-working space areas that you can meet with people and pitch your ideas, and ask for help. Great community of resources that you can have access to. And those are very, very cool.
Where are they located usually?
So we are all over the country. We have over 60, 70 locations currently nationwide. The nearest location, we have 4 locations in Chicagoland area. The 2 closest is one in Naperville and one in Lyle, which is 5-10 minutes from here.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And how is that picking up? I know there are a lot of co-working spaces in downtown Chicago, but how is that picking up out here in the west suburbs? Is there a momentum in that area?
Surprisingly, it's very fast growing industry in the suburban area. there's no co-working space in the area,
Right.
in the suburban area.
Sure.
So we got a lot of virtual office members with us right now. It's just kind of, it's amazing.
Very cool.
Mm-hmm.
Very, very cool. I think it's a big space. So, for those of you in the audience who are not familiar with co-working spaces, a group of entrepreneurs, business people who need to find office space to work in, they go to Josh and they'll get their own either cubicle or office, and that's their home base. They don't need to buy their own building or get their big office space, but they have an office amongst other entrepreneurs as well. So it's kind of a win-win situation, and it's good, like you said, collaboration, networking
Absolutely.
space as well.
Yes.
Also, so yeah, good stuff as well. Any more questions from the studio audience? Everyone's kind of quiet today. Wow, no questions. Yes, sir.
So you said that 67 countries, how you communicate with them?
So you have 67
Sure.
locations?
60, 70 locations nationwide. We have platforms that supports the entire organization.
A cloud platform.
Yes, some of those are cloud platform, absolutely.
Yes, indeed, yeah.
We have CRM systems that manages all of our resources of leads and customers. We have accounting system that manages all of our.
How was that process to get involved into that Office Evolution space, to get into that franchise to a certain extent?
What do you mean?
Because we always hear about getting into organizations such as that. How was the process? Was it seamless? Was it a lot of paperwork? Legal involved, lawyers involved as well?
No, not necessarily. I mean, there's a proven system
Sure.
within Office Evolution that we pretty much just follow and say, hey, it's a proven system. We have not failed once.
Good.
It makes sense. We'll just follow the system, and so far so good.
Excellent, excellent, excellent. Good stuff. So, we're going to wrap up kind of quick today, and thank you so much for coming. One final question that I ask all guests who come here. This is like the hot seat question for sure. So, if you had to talk to the old Josh from when you were back in college, and as many of these students are here as well, knowing then what you know now, what would you tell your old self? What would you tell these college students? Maybe the things that you've learned and seen that would benefit them as they progress through their careers.
Sure.
Or as they look forward to their careers as well.
Yeah, I think I would probably tell my old self.
Yeah.
Take the risk, take the next leap. Don't wait, because life is short.
Yeah.
And ask for help when you need it. Yeah.
Very succinct. Take the risk, ask for help, take the leap. Connect with your professors.
That's right.
Did I hear that? I think I heard that. You guys didn't hear that? Sorry. But that's good stuff. I think especially at this age in their careers, I think now is better than ever for them to be able to take a little bit of risks, because when they have families and kids, it's a little bit harder than it is when they don't have all that. So, so yeah, definitely, if you have that opportunity in front of you, definitely. Josh, thank you so much for joining us today. I truly appreciate it. Hey, folks, let's give Josh a hand.
All right. Thank you for having me.
And again, those of you watching from YouTube world, thank you so much for joining another episode 5 for fall semester 2018. Thank you so much for joining the CODEC show.